I'm Crystal. Thanks for joining me today. I'm a mom of a second grader and a seventh grader, both girls. We've been homeschooling for about 4.5 years already, which has gone by really fast. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how to start homeschooling from scratch, pretty raw here, no fancy editing. It's just us talking, hopefully what feels like friends. So I got my cup of peach ginger green tea in my favorite vintage cobalt blue mug. Won't you join me? Grab a mug of something hot and let's talk. Okay, so of course I'll begin with a caveat that I am not an expert, anything. This is not legal advice. This is really not advice. It's just sort of our journey and how we started homeschooling and just some tips and hints in my opinion. So again, I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert. This does not substitute for your own due diligence that you must do for your family and for your homeschool journey. So of course you need to check with the laws where you live, but I'm just speaking to our personal journey. So let's begin, shall we? Okay, we began homeschooling not from the beginning. My girls, my oldest that is in 7th grade now, we began homeschooling with her when she was in 3rd grade. Really, it was COVID. We are COVID homeschoolers. So mid 3rd grade, all the kids, of course, everywhere were sent home, and we did remote learning for the rest of 3rd grade. But we saw that COVID was still going to hang around into her 4th grade year, and remote learning was not working for our family and the sort of learners that we have. So it worked great for some people, and that's fantastic. You know, every family's different, every kid is a different style learner, but for us, it just wasn't working. So we said, why don't we just try homeschooling on our own? And that way we can have, we can use the curriculum that we want to use. We can set our schedule and just take it from there. So we prayerfully jumped into that 4th grade year with homeschooling, with using our own curriculum, and made that dive and that leap of faith, and it worked out so far. We prayerfully go into each school year that way, saying, Lord, if this is what you want for us to do, to homeschool this year, then please open the doors. So we just like to take it 1 year at a time. Sometimes it's even one semester at a time, because for each child and each season of life, things can change, right? So try to view it like that, unless you want to say, we're going to do this for my child's entire education, then great, if that works for you. But sometimes you just got to roll with the punches and what life brings you that year. So that's kind of how we approach homeschool, just a little background there. So my daughter did 4th grade as her first official homeschool year. Our youngest did preschool. So she has been homeschooled since the beginning. And here she is now in 2nd grade, and it just worked out great for her too. So, but I'm going to be speaking to Colorado state laws. That is where we live, so that's what I know about. Colorado is pretty homeschool friendly. Again, you'll want to make sure that you check the Colorado Department of Education website. I'm going to list a bunch of links that I'm talking about here in the description below, so go ahead and check those. You can always leave a comment if you'd like an exact website, but I'm going to try to list everything. So yeah, I always check the Colorado Department of Education website, which has current homeschool requirements. I like to check in with that often because who knows if the laws change or what have you, but they haven't since we've been doing it the past 4 years. So I'm going to speak to what I know and what I currently follow. Again, for your own state and wherever you live, you got to check it out, because each state is very different and has different homeschool requirements in terms of what sort of records need to be kept. If you have to send anything into the state, for instance. But Colorado's pretty easy. So we had to withdraw our daughter officially. She was going to a charter school, and so I didn't know what the procedure was there. So what do? I just emailed the administrative staff and asked them what the procedure was to withdraw officially from the school so that they wouldn't be counting on her enrollment for the next school year. And for them, it was very easy. They took my email as our word that we were disenrolling. But I understand that some schools, probably public schools, require a form, a withdrawal form to be filled out. So just follow their procedures, fill out their form, take their advice of what you need to do to make that official. After you've done that and you've officially cut that cord from the public school system or whichever school, private school, what have you, then you're on your own and you got to start from there, which is kind of scary. Once you pull that plug, I don't know, there's a weird feeling to it, but it's also very liberating. So just go with it. All right. The first thing you're going to want to do is file what's called an NOI, or Notice of Intent to Homeschool. And you can file that really with whichever district you choose. We just went ahead and went with the district that we live in here in Colorado. Went to the district website, found the official form called NOI, Notice of Intent, and we sent that, filled it out, and sent it to the contact listed on the website. The form must be sent, in Colorado anyways, within 14 days of when you intend to start homeschooling. So for us, I send it every summer, at least a month or two before we have a start date for the new school year. And it must be for every child over the age of 7. So this is our first year that we had to fill out for our youngest, but we've had to every year for our oldest daughter. Colorado requires for homeschoolers within each homeschool year 172 days of school to be recorded, averaging 4 hours a day. Keyword averaging. Anyways, I'll just leave it at that, okay? Because there's a lot of learning that goes on outside of just sitting with books and classroom work and what have you. So we'll just say that. The curriculum, per the state website, is at the discretion of the parent or guardian that is running the homeschool program in charge of that. So the Colorado doesn't dictate what sort of curriculum you can use, so you have great liberty there. The records that you are required to keep for Colorado include test and evaluation scores, a little bit more on that in a minute here, immunization records, and there's some laws that go with that, or exceptions, and attendance records. So along with assessments, so like for Colorado requires the students in 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th grade to have national standardized testing administered in those grades. So the odd grades starting with grade 3. That can be, there's a lot of choices on that, and I can get into that in another video, but this is just kind of an overview. So those tests can be done online or in person, and there's a lot of different ways to go about your standardized testing, but that is required, and those results need to be sent into the district where you sent your NOI to. So I always send it to our same district person. And then what the wise thing to do, I guess, is to keep a binder. I've created our binder where you keep all of these records so that if you're ever questioned on them, or you get a truancy officer at your door. I don't know if that happens, but it can, right? So you want to make sure that you are in compliance with all state regulations. So I have a tab here where I print out a copy of our NOI and confirmation from the district that they did receive it for each school year. I keep that in here. I keep our records, immunization. I keep the attendance records as well, which I actually have that online, but I will print that out and put that in here too. So try to just keep everything together in one easy place to have in case you're ever questioned on it, and just for your own sanity, right? For organization purposes. So yeah, the binder is really helpful for that. And So once you send in your withdrawal, if you need to do that, once you send in your NOI, and you kind of get your records together, then a good thing to do, what I figured out to do next is in the process, okay, I got 172 days I got to work with, so let me create a calendar. So I went ahead and did that in Excel. There's a lot of templates out there. I think I downloaded mine for free from another homeschool resource, so I can leave a link for that down below as well. But here's just kind of roughly what it looks like. I know it's very far away, but it just has, I laid out all of our months that we're going to be schooling, highlighted all of the days in green, for instance, that we're going to be having school in, days off, and I list here when our semesters start and end in quarters, what days off we're taking, and just things like that. We also are involved in enrichment, excuse me. It's good. Enrichment courses, our girls take, a co-op that we're part of, and then one state-funded program, which Colorado says every homeschool student can take one state-funded program, homeschool program per year for free. After that, you got to pay for them. But so I just list all of that information on here to calculate how we're going to get to our 172 days. And if you know in advance of a vacation that you're going to take, or a special trip, or people coming to visit, or just special events, you can always take that into consideration when you're planning your school year and work around that. That's the beauty of homeschool, is that it's very flexible, of course. So however you get your 172 days, some people do year-round homeschooling. Some people do, like, I've heard of 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or a week off. You know, some people just go right through summer. You can start when you want, stop when you want, whatever. It's just 172 days per school year. So that leaves a lot of flexibility, which is awesome. One of the great perks of homeschooling, of course. So along with those are your own calendar that you can create. I like to keep a copy of all the enrichment programs that we're a part of, their calendars in the same tab. Our district, I kind of mirror our district's calendar. I use it as a start and stop roughly, but they kind of start early always, and it seems like earlier every year. So I start when it works for us, but I kind of look at their holiday schedules so I can know when things are probably going to be busy in our area and when kids are going to be off, and so we can plan social things and what have you. But so I like to keep aware of the district schedule as well, and that goes into your planning for the school year. I do all this planning. I do all this planning in the summer for the upcoming school year. So send in the information to the district, get your calendar in order. I buy a teacher's planner. This one was pretty cheap, like $10 off of Amazon. And basically build that calendar first in Excel, and then from there I take that information and build it into this here planner, kind of record the dates like such, circle the days we're having school, make notes, etc. Mark the weeks. We do 37 school weeks. That's just how it works for us. A lot of people do 36. Some people do more or less, but that's how it works for us to get in our 172 days. And so I mark each week. This is week 4, week 3, whatever here, and just kind of try to keep track in various ways like that. From here, this is the weekly lesson planner where I put all of our what we're going to be working on for that week. So real simple, pretty cheap. And these are really nice to have too, to kind of keep you organized and on track. So that is basically what I do to get started. When we first started, I said, okay, I need to figure out how many days and how I'm going to keep track of those. The next part of what you would probably need to do from there, or what we did anyways, was figure out what kind of curriculum. Of course, that's the really big question, is what sort of learner is my child or children? And there are so many different types of curriculums out there. I mean, you can spend a lot of money or you can spend nothing. There's free curriculum, there's online curriculum. Shortly, I will get into Charlotte Mason style versus traditional style curriculum versus unschooling and eclectic schooling, which I think we're kind of eclectic that way, classical curriculum, and everything else in between. So that's it could be like a whole other video, and there's so much information on that. We will go over curriculum next. We're going to talk about curriculum now. So much to say about curriculum, so I'll try to keep it to a minimum here, just kind of an overview. So we'll start with, for homeschoolers, there's a lot of talk of Charlotte Mason in homeschool circles. Charlotte Mason's pretty awesome. It's very nature-based studies, short lessons, and living books. So if you're going to take anything about Charlotte Mason, we're going to say it's nature-based. There's short lessons, and they use a lot of living books, which are considered like classical literature. Charlotte Mason, you can do some reading about her. I'll put some links below. But it was big on living books and not what she called like twaddle or rubbish books. So actual books from classical literature. So it's a really great method of curriculum and method of homeschooling, particularly for kids who don't have a very long attention span and prefer hands-on learning and out-of-the-box style type of lessons. So it's really great for a lot of homeschoolers, but again, it's not for everybody. So there's a lot of classical curriculum out there for homeschoolers, and even in public schools. I mean, our daughter attended a classical charter academy, so it's big on learning Latin roots, so we can be better spellers and readers and understand our English language. Classical gets a lot into classic lit, of course. There's a lot of reading, intense, rigorous studies with classical homeschooling. It's big on learning like rhetoric and logical thinking, that sort of thing. Then there's traditional traditional schooling, I guess. So this looks more like what you'd see in a public school. So workbooks, a lot of repetition, a lot of textbooks, with bold words and traditional, just probably what most of us grew up with if you weren't homeschooled. I know I grew up that way with a lot of workbooks and repetition and what have you. So there's also child-led learning. So that's a style where you talk to your child, what are you interested in learning this year, and take it from there. I don't really know too much about that, so I can't speak to that, but I just know of it, just mentioning it here. And then there's what I've heard of eclectic, which I think our family is eclectic because we kind of like the classical, we like the Charlotte Mason, and then we try to do some of the child-led learning off to the side, like what are you interested in is for enrichment purposes. There's unit studies, which can also be done on one subject of interest. For instance, if your child is really into wanting to be a vet, then you can study animals and veterinary things as your science, but also incorporate that into math and language arts, and it's a whole thing. I haven't really done too much of unit studies, but I know that a lot of people have great success with that, so that's something to look up if you're interested in that. But it's really cool. I mean, it sounds fantastic. For me, I just need to follow a curriculum and follow a guide. I'm not that next level yet where I can create my own sort of guide or curriculum and just pull things from everywhere and make it work. I am not that next level, so kudos to women that can do that. I always admire people, women and men, that can do that, so good for you. Keep it up. All right, so I'm going to talk about a couple of specific curriculums that I know of and that I've researched and used and can speak to, and I'll just discuss a few others. But My Father's World is what we currently use. This covers Bible, science, history, art, and music. Sorry. Then you have to provide your own math and language arts programs. It's a really good cycle. It is Christian based. It is Charlotte Mason and classical based, so it's a bit eclectic, but it's pretty awesome. And we've been using that our whole 4 years. We were fortunate to kind of just figure that out from the get-go. God helped us. He put that curriculum for us, it seems like, and it's just worked. But don't be afraid to change curriculums when it doesn't work. We've had to change language arts. We've had to change math mid-year, mid-semester, even when it's just not working. And don't be afraid to do that. It's okay. No one's going to judge you. It's got to work for you. It's got to work for your child and your family. So don't be afraid to experiment. We also use Masterbooks for my second grader for her math and language arts. These are consumable workbooks that we use for her, grade 2, and they are also Charlotte Mason based, so they're short lessons, but effective. I wondered when we got into using Masterbooks if it was truly enough. I think a lot of us homeschool parents question that often. Are we doing enough? Are we doing too much? Gauge your child. If you have to keep going over the same concept, then it might be too much and you can scale back. But if they're just quickly catching on, then it might be too easy and you can just give them more. Or if the whole curriculum isn't working, scratch it. We've had to do that before. So you just kind of gauge your child. You don't have a whole classroom full of kids to assess. You just have your child, and who knows them better than you. So but we have really liked Masterbooks, and it's quite affordable. I'll leave a link below. There is Sunlight curriculum, which is very much like My Father's World, but I think it's even more rigorous with classical literature. There's a lot of reading with that one, which is good. I've always kind of wanted to explore Sunlight, but just, I don't know, My Father's World is what we've been going with. So my daughter in 7th grade uses teaching textbooks as her math curriculum. It's online based. It does the grading for you. It does the tutorials. It walks the child through the concepts every year from, I want to say 3rd grade till senior year calculus. So it goes all the way up to senior year. And it's like $60 a year per grade. And we've liked it. There's a lot of videos out there of people saying that they don't like it and it hasn't been enough or it's been too much. I think you're going to find that with everything, right? I mean, and that's because it's individual based. So we're going with it for now. And I don't know, we'll see 1 year at a time, right? So there's, in terms of traditional curriculum, there's more like Abeka Books and Bob Jones. That's what I grew up using, was Abeka in a private school. So that's very workbook based. It's high repetition, very traditional schooling. It was created for schools, for a school setting. And that's okay. Some kids work best that way. They need that structure and that repetition, that routine. But you may have a type of learner that they don't need a lot of repetition, or it drives them nuts, or if they have learning disabilities, it just doesn't work with them, and that's okay, But those two companies, Abeka and Bob Jones, also offer online classes with like live classes, live instructors. So there's that option as well, which is pretty cool. I've never really looked into that, but I'm aware of it. And moving on, a sort of out-of-the-box curriculum for math that I've heard about and have seems very interesting. I have no experience with it, but it's called Life of Fred, and I guess it starts with kindergarten and goes, I think, all the way till senior year, and it follows in a story format the life of this person, I guess, named Fred, and gives real life story problems and I don't know. It just sounds quite humorous. I've heard that some people really have great success with that. So again, sounds very interesting. Apologia is, I think they offer, they're very heavy science based. We use Apologia, my father's world incorporates Apologia into their curriculum, so we've used Apologia a couple years now. It's really great. The textbooks are written more like a talking format, kind of like what we're doing here, versus a very strict college level or just school level wording. It's more of a conversation, but it defines the words that the child needs to know and goes into the concepts, and it's a lot of hands-on concepts and experiments with just stuff you have around your house. So it's really nice, and we've liked Apologia. For math, there's another curriculum called MathUSee, I think, and that's a very hands-on curriculum for kids that learn that way. So again, I haven't used that one, but also seems very interesting. So that's one to check out. And all of these, a lot of these resources can be purchased on Christianbook.com. That's a really great website. I'll leave that link below. They often have free shipping and a lot of sales, and you can check out all kinds of homeschool curriculum not mentioned here on that site, but it's really good. Of course, you can check out if you have used bookstores in your area. Check those out for curriculum. Look online, Marketplace on Facebook, any homeschool groups that you can join on Facebook, or the Nextdoor app or what have you online. You can there's curriculum swaps that happen there. So those are good places to get curriculum from. And you can buy used. We've been buying used. It's been beautiful. I get the list of books that we need each year to follow my father's world, and I buy them used on eBay. I buy them used, just look on Google, look on the Christianbook.com and the groups, see if it's out there being exchanged. And have saved a lot of money doing it that way, so that's really nice. There are some free homeschool curriculums, Easy Peasy All-in-One, I think it's called. I'll leave a link below. Is free online homeschool curriculum, and I think it is Christian-based. It's very good. I've used some of their resources before, so thank you, Easy Peasy. Just as supplemental things. Primarily, I used it in like preschool and first grade, but it's really good. I like it. So for Colorado, there's a website called check.org, and that's CHEC.org. And it stands for Christian Home Educators of Colorado, which lists out links to curriculum, links to standardized testing, the state rules, all kinds of resources. That's a really good starting point for homeschooling in Colorado anyways. I'm sure every state probably has some formal website like that, but that is a really good resource right there. And the next link I will say is hslda.org, and that is like I think it stands for Homeschool Legal Defense Act. It's a legal website that has homeschool laws and regulations and information for all states. So you can go to that website. I think you can even pay and become a member. It's not too expensive either. I forget how much it is, but you can join it per year, I believe, and have access to a team of lawyers that work specifically with homeschoolers should there ever be any questioning or issues that come up in your homeschool journey. So they are a great resource. That's a fantastic resource as well for all things legal for every state. So there's so much to cover with homeschool, but I created a Word document. I'll leave it below that has links to everything that I talked about here and probably some other things I did not mention, but it's just kind of a starter, like where to get started. You can also look on Amazon. Spectrum is a type of curriculum that is really cost effective, has workbooks per subject, per grade. If you just need something right away, really quick, you can do that. I think we've used them for spelling before when I had to switch spelling curriculums that just wasn't working for our 7th grader. And it was a really good resource. So you can look on Amazon. There's even, you go to like Mardell's, I think, and they have homeschool curriculum right there. They have a separate section for it that you can just check it out in person, which is really nice to sometimes thumb through if you just need to get started right away. So those are some really quick resources to get you going. Again, go online. You can pull free worksheets if you need to just suddenly just start right away, or mid-year pull your child out of school or what have you. and get started homeschooling. So there are ways to do that. But the next part that we'll talk about is homeschooling space. We're going to talk homeschool space now. This is the remnants of our former homeschool classroom in the basement, which got flooded, unfortunately, this summer. So we are in the process of redoing everything. We had to tear out carpet, putting in flooring, all those fun things. So meanwhile, we are meeting upstairs, which I'll show you shortly, but we had a nice classroom. We had that, we were blessed to have this extra room and turn it into a classroom. So the girls both schooled in this area here. They had their chairs here, one station there, one station here, and then this is where I sit and my husband. And we had, all this fun stuff on the wall, bookshelves and the whiteboard and the calendar, and we had have these shelves for supplies. So normally this is where we would be schooling, but well, we will build back better, right? So forgive the mess. Today is our last day of school before Christmas break, so it all just kind of ended in a flurry, but you just use what you have. Some people do have an extra room that they can turn into a classroom. Some people do not. Some people homeschool in an apartment or a basement or on their kitchen table, and that's what we have found ourselves doing this school year, and it's worked out. We have been just all sitting around the kitchen table, and I store all of our stuff here in the master bedroom and got this cart, which is cool. I just pull this baby out to the kitchen table every school day and get the girls' bins out from there and my stuff. Store the rest of it here. Is it ideal? No, but it works for us. And, it just really goes to show you can homeschool wherever, and it can be ideal. You can do it on your couch. Yesterday, some of us weren't feeling too great, and so we did bed schooling and just did it on top of our master bed here. Just everybody piled on top, and we just did the best that we could, did our schoolwork there. Sometimes that's what school looks like, and sometimes it's on the floor. Sometimes you can school on the couch, or the kids can go to their bedrooms if they like to school in there. If it's nice, you can school outside. Really, it's just kind of, it varies per family, per situation, but it can be done anywhere. It can be done on the road. It can be done, in an RV. We've done RV schooling a little bit, and it can be in the hotel. That's always kind of fun. The kids like that. So you just make it work. And if it's meant for you to homeschool, things will work out and you'll have a peace about it. So here's a kitchen table where we have done our schooling this school year, and it's really worked out. So we all just sit around. It's nice and warm up here, at least. It is kind of cold in the basement sometimes, but well, this is where we are this school year. Sometimes we school at the couch, and sometimes we school on the bed, as I mentioned. So it is what it is. Sometimes you school outside if it's nice. We've done trampoline schooling before. We've done RV schooling, front yard schooling, you name it. Make it fun. Sometimes that's just, whatever life throws at you. Hotel schooling. We've done schooling in the tire shop, getting our tires changed and just take over the waiting room there. So, sometimes it just gets interesting that way. I want to thank you for taking time to join me today. I hope I'm all out of tea. So I hope that this video was of some help to you. Feel free to leave any comments or questions, and I hope that your homeschool journey is filled with joy, which, that's really, homeschooling brings a lot of joy, and I feel peace to the household. It gets loud, but at the same time it's peaceful. Fosters good relationships with siblings and with parents. It's more time that you have together that you won't regret spending with your child when they're out of the house and grown up. So may this journey bring joy to you. May it bring peace in your household and lots of good fun memories. And until next time, thank you and take care.